Family says their 19-year-old daughter left home a week ago and hasn't been seen or heard from since. Her parents say her car was found abandoned with her purse and other belongings still inside. News 4's Jessica Albert spoke with them earlier today and has what appears to be video of her from the morning after she went missing.
Parents say they haven't heard from or seen Dacara since. Her phone was not left in her car, and her parents say it's been disabled.
He had a roommate, and the roommate heard them in the room getting it on, and he said that it didn't sound like she was having a good time. What's up? This is Fugitive TV. I'm your host, Ray Marcel, aka Case Blaze. So what we do here is we take a look at fugitive cases, missing person cases, all these type of cases. I don't care what it is, but we take a look at it from my point of view because I was once a fugitive on the run. Yes, I was. Not no more. You know, all that's back in the day, but I was once a fugitive on the run for about 15 years. And yeah, my story's deep. But today, the story we're going to get into is Dacara Thompson.
It's not like her at all. This is out of the norm for her. She's a introvert. She doesn't have an enormous amount, like a lot of friends that she hangs with or anything like that. And like, we're really close. Prince George's County Police tell us they are investigating, but wouldn't share many details with us. Dakara's parents say they have no idea why she would come to this neighborhood. They're desperate to find her and want anyone who's seen her to call police.
Now, if you don't know about Dacara Thompson, Dacara was reported missing. She was reported missing, right? Now, she was last seen leaving her car and getting into another vehicle at, I believe it was like 3 or 3:30 a.m. Now, the one thing she did do was she was living with her father, and she texted her dad saying she's going to go get gas. Now, that was the last time she was seen, and nobody heard from her since. Well, fast forward to a few days ago, they ended up finding her. They found her unalived, no clothes on.
The court documents say that what happened to Dacara Thompson after she got into a car in this parking lot is both deeply disturbing and very sad.
And then hours after they found her, they actually made an arrest on a guy named Hugo. So a lot of people are like wondering like, hey, how did that happen so fast? They find the person, right? And then they made the arrest so quickly.
Of a 19-year-old whose body was dumped over a bridge near Annapolis. A suspect we know in custody tonight.
Good evening, Rick. 7 pages of detailed charging documents. This suspect was from Guatemala. According to court records, he worked for a Baltimore-based landscaping company. Police used surveillance video and cell phone tracking to build their case. This suspect is now being held without bail. And a warning, some of the details you're about to hear are disturbing.
The police, usually they have evidence a lot of times on certain suspects, things, and they probably, now I'm pretty sure they already knew who the suspect was because there's video footage, and I'm about to show you the video of her getting into the other car. Now, from there, of course, they can track down that car and they can track down where they went, get the license plate. So he was already a suspect to begin with. Some people are actually wondering, though, she was reported missing, right? But they're saying that the police did not take it seriously.
Regardless of the situation of that person being missing, everyone gets a flyer. And that right there, that public notification is so important. As soon as that missing persons case is filed, it gets a flyer and it becomes disseminated all over the media, social media platforms, sharing it with the general public. And that right there is the first step, because the community can't help you in finding someone if the community is not aware that someone is missing. And so just those first 24 to 48 hours, those are the most critical moments.
Prince George's County Police say they did distribute flyers and investigate Thompson's disappearance early on, but that video evidence shows she was entering a vehicle later associated with Hernandez Mendez before she was reported missing. So there are questions about timing. And as we know, her family led much of the grassroots effort to locate her. So there were questions about critically missing people versus folks who are adults and are in good health. Right. And in Prince George's County, those cases are not typically labeled critical.
Now, Dacara is grown. I got to look back at her age. She is grown. She wasn't a kid. I believe she was 19 or 20. We're going to take a look at it, though. But she was grown. And I do know when you report a person missing over 18, usually you have to wait a few hours. Guys, let me know how long you have to wait to report a missing person if they're an adult or over 18. I know in some states there's a time you can't report them like within like say like you think they're missing. There's only been an hour. You gotta wait. I believe it's like 24 hours for some places. Some might even be 48. I don't know, but I do know some places you have to wait. But when she was reported missing, supposedly the police didn't take it seriously. You can say that the police are, you know, unmanned. There is a woman that's always reported missing. There's a person, there's a child always reported missing. I believe it's like every 30 seconds or something like that. So they don't have the manpower to go out looking for every single person that gets reported missing. That's what some people will say. And some people don't want to hear that, especially if it's your loved one, right? You don't want to hear that. Like, yeah. But we're going to take a look at one of the video footages, and I'm going to tell you what I think exactly happened. And I'm waiting for this, you know, more details to come out. I'm waiting for this. I'm pretty sure it's going to come out in trial and things like that, or if they find him guilty. Now, Hugo is an illegal immigrant. He's an illegal immigrant, right?
Start with what we know about Hugo Hernandez Mendez and his past interactions with the law. A spokesperson from ICE today said he is from Guatemala and entered the country at an unknown date. While announcing his arrest today, state and county officials said he had been arrested by U.S. Park Police last spring and charged with a DUI, but was released. Sources close to the investigation say he was arrested on the Baltimore-Washington Parkway in Prince George's County on April 25th. We've been told that procedurally, he most likely would have been held in the U.S. Park Police barrack in Greenbelt, and then would have had a first appearance in federal court in Greenbelt. We looked for those records, but could not find them in the court system. We asked Park Police for charging documents, but they directed us to file an open request in order to get those records.
So he shouldn't have been here in the first place. So there's people mad about that. Like, if he was never here, this would never happen to her, right? A lot of people are saying, or I should say some witnesses are saying, or family members saying he had a drug and alcohol problem to begin with. He also had a prior charge, a DUI, and I think another prior charge that he was actually let out on, even though he's an illegal immigrant. So he already had a DUI charge and he's driving around. Now we're going to take a look at the video. She parks her car, gets out her car, walks to his car, talks to him for a few minutes, and then gets in his car and then leaves. I've seen this a lot of times. I hate to say it, but I've seen this a lot of times. And not only have I seen this a lot of times, I also knew a few people or women who did this constantly. Matter of fact, there's even a part, I'm writing a book about when I was on the run and my life before then and things like that. In my book, I even talk a section about a friend I knew who did similar things to this. So we're going to get into that, you know, right now. Let's take a look. All right, so let's take a look. I want to show you guys this one part of the video, okay? And I'm going to give you a breakdown of what I think, everything that's going on, all right?
Court documents say surveillance camera video captured 19-year-old Dacara Thompson as she parked her Ford Edge SUV and made her way on foot to this parking lot behind a Family Dollar store on University Boulevard in the Langley Park area. It was 3 a.m., almost 5 hours after she'd left her father's Lanham home, saying she was going to get gas in her car. Court documents say video shows she approached the driver's side of a black Yukon Denali, talks to the driver for a minute, then gets into the front passenger seat. Worried family members report her missing. They find her car.
All right, so let's go back to the video, right? This right here. This is her car. If you can see my arrow circling around her car. Now, as you see, she's actually parked opposite of the rest of the vehicles. Can you see what I mean? She's parked opposite. She's walking. This is her walking down the street to the other vehicle, right?
She parked her Ford Edge SUV and made.
So she was doing parking like this. A lot of times when, especially this time of night, it was 3:30 in the morning, right? She was expecting something quick. She wasn't expecting wherever she was going to not be a long time. This is a quick park. Let me hurry up and do what I got to do, get back to my car and get out. That's what this is. This indicates to me that there was two things. Now, some people might not want to hear this. I might hurt some feelings on this, but hey, the truth has to be told and the truth is going to come out, you know, whether we like it or not. And not saying that she's a bad woman, she was a bad person or anything like that. We all go through things, right? Two things. Either she was picking up some substance some drugs, and she was picking it up from Hugo. That's why she was talking to him, and maybe even jumped in the passenger seat, because sometimes you jump in the passenger seat to make the transaction. Sometimes you make the transaction inside the vehicle to avoid cameras, just like how we're seeing right now. Now, a lot of times, if any of you guys out here did things like this, you know what I'm talking about. Now, would the person drive off with you in the car? If you're making a transaction, you know, hey, sometimes you could drive off and a person knows they're driving around the corner just to do the and then come back and drop you off and you go back to your car. Could she have gotten the car to do the transaction and he just took off? That is very possible too. But I'm going to explain something to you why I think that this is not possible, of why he probably just took off and, you know, maybe like, hey, what are you doing with me? I don't think it worked that way. The second reason, a lot of times, is SEX related. 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning, you go over to the driver's door, you approach them, you talk about the transaction, you get in the car, and now the driver's taking you to where you guys can go to go do your business. If you don't believe me, wherever you live at, if you have one of these streets where you see, they call them lot lizards and things like that walking down the street, if you go down to one of them, hey, just go pull over next to one and talk to them. It will happen the exact same way. Here in Florida and Orange County, we have a street called Orange Blossom Trail. You can go to Orange Blossom Trail and you can find a few of them walking down Orange Blossom Trail, you know, all day long and all night long. And I'm pretty sure you park or you pull up, they're going to come talk to you, and then they'll get into the car and you drive off to where you're going. It could be 3:30 a.m. or 3:30 p.m. They are out there. So I'm not saying this is for sure. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, I'm not saying this to be a bad person. And not only that, no matter what was going on, this does not justify or deserve for anything to happen to her. But I'm just breaking down the facts from a perspective that I see happens a lot, okay? And it does happen a lot. This could be a deal going wrong or a SEX deal that went wrong. Either way, this shouldn't have happened to her. Especially, you know, it shouldn't have. Now, I'm going to tell you why this could be the second part and not the first part. All right, let's take a look at what this says. Court documents detail the last known moments of the missing or unalive 19-year-old, who is Dacara. So, this happened in Prince George County, Maryland, actually. Prince George. Don't know if I mentioned this earlier. Court documents shared with DC News on Friday detailed the alleged events leading up to during the following unaliving of 19-year-old Dacara Thompson. Thompson went missing in late August and was found August 31st in a grassy area off of Route 50. Days later, the Prince George County Police Department announced they had an arrest and charged a suspect in a connection with her unaliving. Now, on August 23rd, police responded to an apartment in Lanham after receiving a missing person report there. Daniel Thompson said his daughter, Dacara, was missing and had last been seen that day before. He said he tried calling Dacara Thompson, but she did not answer. A short time later, however, he received a text from her saying she was going to get gas at the time. So he tried to call her. She didn't answer. And then she said she sent a text saying, I'm going to get gas. So when he tried to call her, she was busy. Now, did it say what time he tried to call her? It doesn't say what time he tried to call her, but he tried to call her. She didn't answer. August 24th, members of Thompson's family were able to see the most recent location of her phone, which said it was in Hyattsville. Her family went to the area and found her Ford parked on the side of the road. Now, 1 week later, at around 4:50 p.m., August 31st, Maryland State Police responded to the reports of a disabled vehicle on the bridge over the South River in Annapolis. Troopers found a body on the river embankment about 30 feet below the bridge. The woman they observed was fully unclothed and had visible tattoos and jewelry that resembled her, because at first they didn't know it was her, but it resembled her, right? So here, but eventually later on they did, they said it was her. Now, when they when they looked at the surveillance footage, which showed Thompson's last known movements, shortly after 3 a.m. on August 23rd, she got out of her Ford and walked toward the 2000 block of University Boulevard in Hyattsville. At that time, she was wearing a light colored blue jacket and she had pants on. She walked into the parking lot of a nearby Family Dollar. Now, Family Dollar's closed. There's no 24-hour Family Dollar that I know of, so we know she wasn't going there. Spoke with the driver of a black GMC Yukon Denali. After speaking for a short time, then she jumped in the passenger seat. About 45 minutes later, the two had driven to a home in an area of Cambridge Drive, according to court documents. Detectives observed the same GMC in front of the same home on Cambridge Drive on the evening of September 3rd. According to the documents, as they were about to execute a search warrant, detectives saw a man leave the home and get into the GMC. They conducted a traffic stop in the early morning hours of September 4th. As the man started to drive down Cambridge Drive, he was identified as 35-year-old Hugo Rene Hernandez Mendez. 35-year-old Hugo. So why would 35-year-old Hugo even be talking with 19-year-old Dacara in the first place? Like I said, it has to be one of the two reasons, right? Only reason. Hernandez or Mendez detailed the events of August 23rd, saying he's been at the Galaxy nightclub in Hyattsville. So he was at the Galaxy nightclub first. I took a look at the Galaxy nightclub. I Googled that up. It looks like it's just a regular nightclub. Drinking, that type of thing. That's the Galaxy nightclub right there that he was last reported at. All right. So he was last there with her. I'm sorry, not with her, but that's where he was last at before he talked to her or seen her. So it's actually across the street from the Family Dollar where Thompson got into the GMC. So he was at the club, left the club, and then, met with her across the street pretty much. He told detectives he was supposed to meet up with his ex-girlfriend, but never did. We wonder why, because he was meeting up with her. After further questioning, he denied any involvement. Of course, he's going to deny it. Everybody does. Just after 9 a.m. on September 4th, detectives executed a search warrant at his home, detaining multiple other occupants for further investigation. One person told police they live with their family at the home and are cousins with Hernandez and two other roommates. They reported that this is a full house right here. They reported that Hernandez has a drinking and drug issue. Once again, one or two issues: the DRUGS or the SEX. A second person said they recall hearing Menendez getting it on with someone around 5 a.m. After waking up a few hours later, they remembered walking outside, seeing a GMC was not parked outside the house. They told detectives they thought this was strange since Menendez reportedly does not work on Saturdays. A third and fourth witness reportedly did not know anything about the overnight hours and told detectives that they live on the opposite side of the house. So all these people are living in the house, but one person didn't hear everything. According to court documents, multiple items of evidence were recovered from the home. Detectives reportedly saw two trash bins in the driveway with bags of trash inside of the trash. Let's see, and did to find documents of those who lived in the home or were found inside trash bags. In summary, detectives said they know Thompson was in the area. Okay. And eventually what he did was that morning he took her and dumped her off the road on the highway, unfortunately. And that's what happened with this article here.
Mendez was arrested near a home on Cambridge Drive in Bowie, where he rented a room. Police believe Dacara Thompson was killed there. Detectives stated a roommate told them he heard the defendant in his room the morning of the 23rd having sex with a woman who, quote, did not seem to be having a good time. At a press conference to announce the arrest, County Executive Aisha Braveboy noted the defendant was in the U.S. illegally and had recently been in federal custody.
All right, so as you see, he had a roommate. Now, there's an article I'm going to pull up. He lived with more than just one roommate. But he had a roommate, and the roommate heard them in the room getting it on, and he said that it didn't sound like she was having a good time. So this is why I'm ruling out the first one. I'm ruling out the first one because think about this. If you do a DRUGS or, that type of transaction, and let's say you do get in the car, it's highly unlikely that they're going to drive off with you and you're not going to put up a fuss. Then he's going to take you or she back to where they live at, right? And you're still not going to put up a fuss. Go into their room, and now all of a sudden, now I'm not saying this is not possible. I'm just giving the likely statistics. Now, the second reason, like I told you, this seems very likely. Hey, you get in the car. Let's make this quick. And you got a hotel, you have a place. Oh, yeah, let's go. We go back to my place. I got my own room. All right, bet. Let's go real quick. We can do something no matter what it is. I'll get this money. You drop me back off my car and I'll dip. Get what I'm saying? On how else would these two people connect? Look at this. Just look. I mean, look at this guy and then look at her. How would they connect? Right? So like I said, I might hurt some feelings saying this, but I'm just calling it how I see it, right? And like I said, no way this justifies what he did. He shouldn't. No, that's horrible, right? Now, in the home, they did find evidence that she was there. I think they found DNA. They found her parts of her hair. They even found a torn fingernail. They found a bunch of stuff that linked him to her. So there was no question that she was in his room and something physical and violent happened in that room, even just by the ripped fingernail that's off. We don't know if it's a real fingernail or a press-on or acrylic. That part they're not saying. But there's something that happened in the room, and we all know what happened. And then after that, he took her and then he dumped her off. If you could tell by the picture of him, when they arrested him, he had a green vest on. So it looks like he works construction or something like that. And that's probably why he was leaving early in the morning. That's probably why on Friday nights he goes to the club, he drinks, he smokes, and he probably goes online or he probably goes to strip clubs and things like that. I don't even know the man, but I'm pretty sure this is what he does in this type of life that he lives. I don't know exactly how he met her. There's probably all going to come out through cell phone documents and everything else. But I'm just here giving you the facts and giving you what I think that happened. If you think something else happened, let me know, all right? Because this is very interesting of how these two even met, you know. But hey, like I said, this is not to justify what happened to her. No. Anyway, I don't care, what was going on. Some people have a hard time in life. Some people do, we all make mistakes in life, right? We all do things when we're young or whatever, right? So this is no justification of what he did. He's a scumbag and he shouldn't have did this to begin with. And he shouldn't even been here because he's an illegal immigrant and he should have been locked up for his other charges, right? We could probably all agree on this one. So this is Fugitive TV. Please like, subscribe. It helps the channel grow big. Get the book when it comes out, Rare Redemption. I'm out.